Always ready for another snowstorm, Brandon. I don't know if many people would agree with me on that. But, yeah, you still got some snow fans on the block here. Don't worry. Hello, everyone. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Snow Talk on this Thursday. We have a lot to cover. As always, got a limited amount of time with you guys. Wish we had longer, but at least we have a chance to chat for a moment and cover some of the basics of how things are trending in the longer term, especially. That's what I like to always focus on. What's next? What's coming our way? And as always, since we do this daily, to see whether or not it materializes or holds on every day. And you guys kind of go along with me on that journey of investigating, if you will, and forecasting the outlook down the road. And you guys kind of get a little more of a behind the scenes look of our thoughts and how things are trending, and really see too at the same time how complex tracking weather systems, especially bigger ones, or even the little ones actually could even be. Sometimes the little ones cause more problems, right? Because they sneak on by. Okay, so as always, you guys have already figured this out, I'm sure by now. You can comment on the social media side, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch. Otherwise, on the streaming side, you won't see the comments fight, but you're more than welcome to watch and enjoy. Okay, so let's get right into the snowboard. It is lit up. We have a couple items here that we're going to track. First off, the one for this weekend, I've kind of blended it together as the bit of a changeover from the Saturday afternoon drizzle that will go to snow showers, and then the second wave on Sunday. I'll explain coming up on that in a second. And then next week, I'm not as worried about anything early week, as the latter half of the week is looking a little interesting, but still complex. And then as we head into the end of the month, there's a wave that is showing up. And then right in behind that, heading toward Groundhog Day, yet another wave is showing up. So yes, several more systems. So while we're getting these little mini thaws mixed in, I still am not able to identify a pattern that locks in a warm period or even several days above freezing. We're only getting 36 hours at a time that gets above freezing at best. So that is still going to be a challenge for us as we head down the road. So if you still need to get more salt for your yards or your porches coming up, you ran out, or you need to make sure that generator is working good, or you just want to make sure that some of the pipe in your house seems a little suspect after the most recent cold wave, then now's the time to get all that taken care of before we get back into a wintry setup over the next few weeks there. All right, so let's dive into it. First off, a lot of sun today. The thermometer started to rise last evening, roughly at about actually overnight, I guess, not evening, but 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It started to reverse, and then we were above freezing by sunrise this morning. And now we got some decent sunshine in the area. We're still holding right at 32, but 35 in Bardstown, 37 already down into Marion County. Now, there's not much snow in our southern tier of counties here. It's a little more patchy south of the Parkway. So your ability to warm is a little easier than those of us that are still socked in at least 2 inches or more for Indiana and along the 64 corridor, which makes it now 10 days. This would be day 11 of snowfall, the longest streak, really, of having a couple of inches of snow on the ground since nearly a decade ago. So it doesn't happen very often. We're going to melt some of this off today with us getting above freezing. Sun certainly helps, although clouds are likely to come back here soon. But at least we get above freezing for a few hours. And then tomorrow, not only will we be above freezing during the day, we'll stay above freezing at night tomorrow night. So that's a good window of melting. And we're going to add some rain into this. Still does not look to be heavy rain, but a steady enough rain where it should eliminate I don't know if it'll eliminate all of the snowpack in the area, but a good chunk of it. The snow piles, the bigger mounds of piling of snow that happen on your street, those are not going anywhere for a while. So that will stick around, but at least some improvement on side roads for sure. And even some of the rooftops will clear off, and then we'll get some of the yards to show the grass once again, only to perhaps cover them back up again down the road. There's your teaser. Okay, there's the current look at the radar. The wave this morning with that front, we're tracking a very similar situation to the one today to what we had a couple of days ago, where it just really had a tough time on developing moisture in the area. So we had a batch of flurries reported, several spots actually reported in Cincinnati area, but the air was just so dry here, didn't really see much of an impact. Majority of this has moved into areas of the Mid-Atlantic, and that's heading toward the nation's capital at the moment for a snow globe day for the Delmarva Peninsula, it looks like. For our area, you can see the snowpack showing up as the sun lights it up this morning. Now, there is a batch of clouds up here into northern Indiana. Now, a lot of the data is trying to pass this to the south and develop a bank of clouds as we head into this afternoon. So far, I have not really seen much happen in that territory. We'll see if it happens, but as you're about to see, data still wants to try to trend that way. Otherwise, we'll hold on to some bonus sunshine for just a bit longer. But no doubt, temperatures have been warming. It's interesting to see the contours. They change color. They're going from the pink, which is below freezing, to the blue, which is above freezing. And notice the lag that is happening along 64, where that snowpack is slowing the thermometer down a bit along that corridor versus central and southern Kentucky are having a chance to thaw out nicely there. All right, here's Futurecast. And you notice the clouds again across Indiana, Indianapolis, and Springfield, and you see how quickly it develops that bank over us this afternoon. Maybe a little more blotchy as far as the sky coverage goes, maybe more peekaboo sunshine for a bit. I don't know if we'll go completely overcast, but you get the idea. We'll have at least some clouds later on today, but above freezing, so that's a plus. Now, tonight, if we clear back out again, and that's a question because we have the southwest wind that's going to be building in, so you're going to get that along with that snowpack that is still going to be lingering in the area, and you're going to end up with fog. Good signal for fog, warm air advection fog, we call this, when you got warm air going over that cold ground, the cold snowpack. So watch out. We could have some areas of fog, especially across Indiana and along the bluegrass area of Kentucky, some of the valleys, the Kentucky River area, back toward I-71. So just be aware of that. We'll see how the signals go for this afternoon and for tonight. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll start off with that fog, going to some sun, and then clouding back up again. So kind of a mixed feeling for tomorrow, but no rain tomorrow or snow, a quiet day, and we'll get into the 40s. Overall, Friday will be the potentially the warmest day of the year so far, saying a lot, and one of the better looking days too that we'll have. The fog is the only catalyst. If the fog lingers too long, which it can do, then we wouldn't get into a sunny setup until about midday, and that would only give us a few hours before the clouds for this next system with rain take over. So I think today we'll have more sun than tomorrow will. Okay, so tomorrow we get into the 40s. Modeling has trended down a bit on some of the numbers in Indiana near that snowpack area. I think it's just because the modeling doesn't know how much that snow will be eliminated in the next 24 hours. So that plays a role on this wave of rain moving in. Now, again, no impacts Friday during the day, and really Friday evening if you have plans, you're fine. This rain and moisture in general arrives about 2 o'clock in the morning, late Friday night, early Saturday. And there is a chance that some of the areas that have the snowpack on the ground or the valleys could start off maybe as a sleet snow mixture before it goes to rain, but no impacts from that. All right, just want to at least mention it. A lot of you will be asleep anyway when this moves in. And by the time you wake up, 7, 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, the rain, a steady rain, is already dialed back. And again, rainfall amounts Some areas a tenth, some up to about a quarter, but I don't see much more than that. If there are any amounts higher than that, I think it's more isolated, not widespread. So overall, light rain, which is good because, again, we don't want too much of a heavier rain given the snowpack melt that is happening. Now, as this moves on by, our warm weather. I just threw my pen. Don't even know my own strength sometimes. Anyway, the warm weather that does arrive for tomorrow and early Saturday will be limited to Saturday morning. Once we get past the steady rain ending on Saturday, well, the thermometer drops. Now, don't worry. I don't see us getting to that freezing mark. That freezing line drops down until roughly near sunset on Saturday. So if you're worried about anything frozen happening or icy roads or anything like that, the daytime period will be okay. It's just going to get colder as each hour goes by. And the wind is going to ramp up too. So we're still betting on the idea the wind is going to help dry up a lot of the roads so we can avoid any flash freeze type of scenario or anything like that. So the bad news is the wind is going to create a wind chill. So cold and blustery for sure as we head into Saturday night. Any moisture around at that point would be in the form of snow showers. Now, the challenge we've got is not so much Saturday night as it is really on Sunday. And we switch to the Euro for that to give you an idea. So here is the Euro's idea of the rain moving on by. You can see here it is at 6 in the morning, a little bit slower than other models. There's the break that happens Saturday afternoon. Saturday afternoon, the main focus is just the temperature drop, not so much rain or snow at that point. But it's the second little wave that is going to sneak in across Tennessee into the Smoky Mountains. Now, how fast still is the question on this as it moves on by? You don't see it here Saturday night, but you get into Sunday, and here it is scooting across the Smoky Mountains and right into Tennessee. Now, if this thing can slow down, and sometimes they do, especially in this type of setup, you can get some snow showers that could get enhanced. Right now, I still think Southeast Kentucky a little more risk for anything as far as a couple of inches of snow, that kind of ordeal. Meanwhile, you're going to have just flurries and snow showers, in some cases streamers that'll be coming off of the Lake Michigan area could provide for some snow showers right into wave country. That is certainly possible there. All right, so these snow showers will continue all the way into Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, and they will begin to wind down shortly after that. All right, so hold on one second. I just realized I forgot to add a couple of maps in here for you all, but I want you all to see them. So give me a second. Somebody tell me a joke. Tell me a funny joke while we're waiting. That's appropriate for TV. Man, I can't get them in there. Oh no. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. Well, I'll try to at least explain what the maps are going to show. Sorry, my system's not cooperating here. But I will at least show you what I was going to describe. It's okay. Don't be all mad and upset. I promise you I will show you these maps tomorrow. They'll still be valid. I got a good feeling. Okay, so what I'm about to show you is, of course, the setup for next week. Now, here's the thing. This is a multiple facet type of situation for next week. I want to take it step by step. That's the best way, I think, to explain this. I mentioned that wave of snowfall, of that low pressure moving through the Smoky Mountains on Sunday. Okay, that is not a big ordeal other than that is the system that's in the way of the Arctic plunge. So as soon as it moves out of the way, boy, that Arctic air just tanks into the area and drops all the way down to the Gulf Coast as we head into, especially for Monday. Monday looks to be the coldest day right now of the entire 10-day. The wind will be the strongest on Monday. So with actual numbers getting down in the single digits, wind chills are already coming in about 10 to 12 below zero Monday morning. So I'm glad that a lot of people want to have work or school to deal with. If you do have work, brace for that really cold blast there early on Monday. But that looks to be the coldest setup for Monday. I don't see any winter storms or anything like that on Monday. All right. So it's going to be quiet, just very, very cold and windy outside. So that's important because that cold Arctic air is the groundwork for what will happen after it. We've talked a lot about the potential for multiple systems to roll through the southern part of the country. The issue we've got is that we've got this, what we call, you can't see it because the banner's covering up, but this is what we call the Hudson Bay Low that is sitting around the Hudson Bay, Northeast Canada. You've got these little pieces that are rotating around it over and over again. These little waves are kind of passing through the flow. At the same time, you're getting little pieces of energy that are curving out of the Caribbean getting pulled right into Texas, and then they catch a ride, if you will, in that flow and head due east. It's a careful balancing act of how that low, the Hudson Bay low, and the lows spinning around it, how close does that drift down to the south, and all that moisture coming in from the Gulf? How do they interact? It's all about timing. And in some cases, you may get a piece that is rotating around coming out of Canada and one that's moving in from the Gulf at nearly the same time. Of course, I always refer to that as shaking hands or phasing that can happen. And that's what you got to watch for bigger systems, certainly winter storms that can develop. Now, the first potential of this is early in the week, and that's been getting the most attention, but it still looks to be suppressed to the south. Still looks like the Carolinas and Georgia will be more at risk for that first wave. Right now, I just don't see an impact here. It looks like the cold air is going to be too overwhelming, especially with such a dive that it has on Monday, that we just can't get any system to make it in our area. However, as the week progresses, there is another one that rotates in, has a chance to pull in yet another low. And this time it's a little further north because the dip in the jet is just a little bit more north than where it is shown on this map here. So that then starts to put the Tennessee and the Ohio Valley a little more at risk for a winter storm for the latter half of the week, which is why next Thursday and Friday have been added. Confidence is not overly high. In fact, when I looked at just even say the GFS ensembles, the potential for a winter storm, it has it at 10%, which is not that unusual being that far out. I mean, we're a week out and it's at 10%, but it's notable in the sense that it's even on the map for the region. So we do not have it flagged as an alert data right now. If it's all about data trends. So this is a relatively new trend. It started yesterday afternoon. We noticed it starting to show up and be sneaky. If that trend continues today and certainly for tomorrow, then yes, I think we'll have to flag at least the latter half of next week as alert days for at least higher awareness on the potential for some wintry weather coming our way. And again, this will be the latter half of next week, Thursday or Friday. Don't know the exact day yet. That's another challenge about where we would put an alert day if we had to. But it's an interesting setup. And the reason why the snowboard is so busy is that we just keep repeating this. You keep getting another wave, another piece of energy, another chance to get a phase, another one, and another one, and another one. And that is going to complicate the forecast because at times you're going to get very cold attacks after they move by, and maybe some brief thawing ahead of them. But in general, the thawing doesn't have much of a chance. It just keeps every time the thermometer tries to climb, another Arctic front moves in. So it looks busy. So the 10-day does feature some snow chances, but we do not have any winter storms in the outlook or anything like that, to be clear. But the pattern next week does bear watching in a big way with that much cold air around, especially if it lifts back up. That puts the storm track a little more into our zone, if you will, for next week. And I was looking to see if there's any change in the pattern. And there are only subtle differences I've noticed long-term, but in general, not really. You can tell by looking at this that the ridge here into the Gulf of Alaska, I mean, Alaska's been running in the 40s. So warm surge still located in the Eastern Pacific. So that is still allowing for these, really there's two centers of very cold Arctic air taking place. This is like this should be the core polar vortex. This is like mini-me, if you will, the son of the polar vortex or daughter. But it's located into the Hudson Bay area. As I mentioned, that low that I was referring to is the polar vortex setup, and it's spinning these lows around it over and over. This is fairly locked in. There's not a lot of change. So at least through early February, don't expect a lot of change in our storyline here as we go along. But boy, it's going to be busy though, because it just keeps throwing waves at us. And it's just a matter of, it's like going fishing. Are you going to get a bite or not? Are you going to have a rough day at the lake? Or is it going to be a really good day? Depends if you're a snow lover or not. So let me show you the 10-day. Let me get to some of your questions because I kind of threw a lot at you without my fun little maps I wanted to show you. Let's see. What is that, Ellen? The pattern is the Reese's Cup pattern. You got your cold, low pressure merged into my high pressure zone. There you go. There you go. Let's see. I feel like people, when they hear winter storm, it causes concern and anxiety. Well, absolutely. But that's what they are, because we would say thunderstorms, right? In the summertime. Same thing. If you have a lot of severe weather, no one wants to hear about thunderstorms, especially if you've had a recent damaging storm or even a tornado. anxiety's high anytime you mention thunderstorms down the road, but we got to call it what it is. These would be winter storms that would form. So, but no, there are none in the forecast, though. So make sure I'm clear on that, Katie. I'm just referring to the overall pattern. Okay. Oh, Olivia's got the joke. Thank you. What's a hamburger's favorite hairstyle? A bun. Thank you. Twana's putting her request in for 50s and sunshine. Twana's also off next week, so she would likely miss any winter potential. So I think she's got a plan there. All right. I think everyone seems okay. I know you're gonna have a lot of questions about specifics on the second part of next week. And again, we're not ready to get into detail. I'm just trying to give you a heads up on what the pattern is showing, because it is within the 10-day. Susan, any concerns on flooding after? Yes. And that's only going to be with a rapid amount of warming or heavy rain. I don't really see rapid warming. I'm talking about well into the 50s and 60s. You don't want to warm too fast. Not only can that cause snow melts and a high water content of allowing for some flooding, but the rivers will also begin to rise, especially upstream. And again, the Ohio River, a lot of what happens in Pennsylvania matters to what happens here too. So if they have a lot of melting there into Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio, doesn't even have to be here, or even heavy rain there and not here, it still would influence the Ohio. So we still have to watch heavy rain setups and rapid warming scenarios, but the 10-day doesn't really feature, I wouldn't call 48, a rapid warming scenario. It's actually close to normal. And I don't see any heavy rain, so that's good. But those are the signals. You're right, Susan, that we're going to be watching as we head a little further into the season here. Monica, will Saturday be an all-day rain? No. In fact, the steady rain should be tapering off by 8 a.m. and then easing back. Rainey, do you think we get power outages with the cold Monday and Tuesday? The wind doesn't seem that strong. I'm talking about 25 to 30 for some of the gusts. But if there are any branches that have been broken from the recent snow and ice that are leaning over a power line, those are the only scenarios I could see that would cause an issue, but you would likely be aware of that by now. But kind of take a gander outside and look and see if there's anything that looks a little suspect, and you got some time to take care of that. Travis, the Hudson Bay polar vortex just sits there. It does not move. Does not move. All right. My snowman will melt, Eugene says. I didn't build a snowman this year. I need to. I still have time before it looks a little weird with the melting. But I haven't had time this year. I need to make time. You should always make time to make a snowman, I think. It's kind of therapeutic, I think. Plus, it clears the path for the dogs when you expose the grass again. They love that. All right. I'll end with this here real quick. Rose, ready for 70, sunny from those storms. What a difference, right, that a year can make. Last year, we were getting ready for, well, at this time, we had snow. It was really our only snow of the season, but we were getting ready for an active severe weather season, right? We had a lot of severe weather, tornadoes, a lot of wind events. This year, it's going to be tough to really kind of flip the storyline. It's going to take some time here, it looks like, over the next couple of weeks. But there you go with the 10-day, guys. Again, we'll monitor the Sunday Smoky Mountains wave there to see if that can enhance some of the snow showers. But right now, if you're traveling south and east into eastern Kentucky, that's more of an issue. Otherwise, the cold by far is the biggest and the most really dangerous aspect when it comes to frostbite, especially if the wind chills can go below 10 below zero early Monday. So very, very cold as we head into early next week. More pipe dripping, faucet dripping weather for early next week. And then we'll just see what happens for the second half of next week. But the pattern does remain prime to get some problems in the area. So stay tuned, as they say. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all as always. Thanks for watching. I promise I'll get those maps in tomorrow. And we'll all look at them together, and we'll just see what they show. Have fun. See you on the flip side.